King Von, born Devin DeCoin Bennett on August 9, 1994, was a Chicago rapper deeply tied to the Black Disciples gang, specifically from the Oblique neighborhood, which is recognized as one of the most dangerous areas in Chicago. His life, music, and public identity were intertwined with the decades-long rivalry between the Black Disciples, BDs, and the Gangster Disciples, GD, a conflict that has spanned over 50 years and is rooted in Chicago's South Side history. Von's lyrics and persona reflected this environment, which was shaped by the violence, poverty, and social instability surrounding him. The feud between the BDs and GDs is not simply a matter of gang affiliation, it's a generational struggle, born from systemic neglect, economic collapse, and marginalized communities forming street crews for protection during the 1960s. The GDs were initially founded as the Supreme Gangsters in 1964 by a group of young men, including Larry Hoover, while the Black Disciples emerged under King David Barksdale. Though the two groups briefly merged into the Black Gangster Disciples in 1969, Barksdale's death in 1974 reignited hostilities, leading to a civil war that continues to this day, with ongoing turf wars, drug trade disputes, and violent confrontations. Von's personal life was shaped heavily by this environment. Raised in Oblique, he experienced firsthand the violence that marked his neighborhood. Between 2011 and 2014, Oblique recorded 19 shootings, solidifying its reputation as a perilous zone. Von's involvement in street life began early, and by 2014, at age 19, he was implicated in the fatal shooting of Gakira Key Barnes, a known GD member, though witness inconsistencies prevented charges at the time. He later engaged in public rivalries with GD-affiliated rapper FBG Duck, a feud that culminated in Duck's death in August 2020 after an ambush in Chicago, with 6 BD members subsequently convicted on federal racketeering charges. Von himself was killed 3 months later in Atlanta at age 26 during an altercation linked to rival factions. His death sent shockwaves through the Chicago drill scene, with legal repercussions continuing to unfold years later, including indictments, trials, and multi-million-dollar lawsuits involving other figures in the industry. King Von's mother, Tessa Bennett, or Tisha as she is often referred to, became a public figure due to her son's fame and tragic death. She raised Von in challenging circumstances, witnessing his father, Walter E. Bennett, known as Silk, in and out of jail, and ultimately losing him when Von was 11. Tisha navigated the complexities of raising Von amidst gang influences and street violence, trying to guide him while also supporting his music career. She witnessed his rise with Lil Durk's Only the Family label, his legal battles, and his successes. But the environment around Von was dangerous, and his street affiliations ultimately contributed to his untimely death. Her experience as a mother involved balancing grief, public scrutiny, and managing the legacy of a son whose life was both celebrated and scrutinized. After Von's death, Tessa maintained an active public presence, sharing tributes, managing aspects of his legacy, and expressing her personal life online. In late 2025 and early 2026, new footage emerged showing Tessa in social settings with people identified online as GD members. Videos and photos depicted her dancing and posing in clubs, sparking widespread online speculation. The content, shared across platforms like TikTok and Instagram, went viral, not because of her behavior alone, but due to the context of gang affiliations. Comments quickly focused on the presence of alleged GD members, with online users expressing shock and accusing her of betraying her son's memory. A specific post from Amy Mixtape showed her in a brown bodysuit and gold boots, which alone gathered over 11,000 likes and 2 million views, though the reactions centered on the alleged associations rather than her outfit. The backlash highlights the deep-seated expectations placed on families of gang-affiliated individuals, particularly those who achieve fame. Fans of King Von saw him as a BD figure, and by extension, they imposed an expectation on his mother to uphold the same loyalties. Tisha responded to the speculation, denying any romantic involvement with GD members and emphasizing her personal life was separate from gang politics. She stated her focus was on healing and living her own life, though the internet largely ignored the nuance of her statements. The reaction reflects how Chicago's gang culture, the drill music scene, and social media converge to impose moral and cultural expectations on individuals tangentially connected to street conflicts. Understanding the reaction requires knowledge of the historical rivalry between the BDs and GDs. The conflict is generational, emerging from a combination of social marginalization, systemic neglect, and violent territorial disputes. Chicago's South Side communities suffered economic decline in the 1960s, with limited access to housing, employment, and financial services. In response, young black men formed protective crews that evolved into gangs. The Black Disciples and Gangster Disciples have since been locked in an ongoing conflict, with cycles of violence, retaliation, and the loss of young lives becoming normalized in the communities. Both groups historically ran large-scale drug operations, recruited children, and maintained strict codes of loyalty. The collapse of housing projects in the early 2000s dispersed gang members, creating smaller, more volatile crews, but the rivalry persisted, evolving alongside the drill music scene where real-life feuds are amplified in lyrics, videos, and social media content. Tase's public presence and personal choices must be understood against this backdrop. She is not a gang member, but a grieving mother whose life has been politicized and scrutinized because of her son's affiliations. Her social media activity, fashion choices, and public appearances have repeatedly gone viral, prompting debates about appropriateness, age, and gender. The recent GD footage intensified the scrutiny because it intersected with both the public's fascination with drill culture and their perception of gang loyalty as absolute. Many online commentators projected moral judgments onto her, suggesting she was betraying King Von's legacy, while others defended her autonomy, arguing she should be free to live her life without policing from strangers. Von's legacy itself complicates the narrative. He was widely recognized for generosity and care toward family, friends, and crew members, earning the respect of many who saw him as a protective and fatherly figure despite his young age. His music and actions demonstrated loyalty and a sense of responsibility, yet his life was inseparable from violence. This duality, celebrated rapper and active participant in street conflict, frames the intensity of reactions to Tase's public presence. Her choices, however mundane or celebratory, are scrutinized through the lens of her son's identity and the ongoing BDGD conflict. The online discourse reflects broader cultural dynamics where grief, gender, age, and street loyalty intersect with entertainment and social media narratives. The viral footage of Tessa Bennett with alleged GD members did not simply reveal social interactions. It became a symbol onto which people projected a wide range of expectations and judgments. Some viewed it as a breach of loyalty, while others saw it as a woman asserting her right to live fully despite immense personal loss. The reaction underscores how families of individuals caught in gang violence navigate impossible expectations. They are judged for the actions of the deceased and monitored for adherence to codes they did not establish. Tase's public responses highlight her effort to assert autonomy while dealing with grief and the perpetual attention of social media. The broader context of Von's death continues to reverberate. Legal proceedings, ongoing rivalries, and continued media coverage keep the BDGD conflict in public view. Cases like Lil Durk's conspiracy charges, wrongful death lawsuits, and the activities of individuals involved in retaliatory violence demonstrate that the fallout of street conflicts extends far beyond the immediate deaths. The virality of Tase's footage exists within this ecosystem of enduring violence, generational loyalty, and public scrutiny. In essence, the reactions to her footage are as much about the historical and ongoing cycles of gang rivalry as they are about her individual choices. Ultimately, the viral attention surrounding Tessa Bennett is less a reflection of her personal morality and more a reflection of the impossible expectations imposed by her son's public identity. King Von's legacy is preserved in his music, the lives he touched, and the cultural impact he made, while the public continues to grapple with the narratives of loyalty, grief, and street politics. Tase's presence in the viral footage challenges simplistic notions of loyalty and betrayal, revealing the human complexity behind the headlines. The intense online response highlights the ways in which society consumes drill culture, interprets grief, and projects moral imperatives onto the families of those lost to violence. Tessa Bennett continues to navigate life in the public eye, asserting her right to personal autonomy while carrying the weight of her son's legacy, a testament to resilience amidst scrutiny in a world shaped by decades of conflict and tragedy.